Millions of Australians will have their JobKeeper and JobSeeker payments wound back next week. To discuss the changes and what it means for you, I am now joined by News Corp National Personal Finance reporter Sophie Elsworth. Sophie, there's quite a lot to get through. Let's start with JobKeeper. Currently, there's around 900,000 businesses receiving the subsidy, but as of Monday, the 28th of September, this is changing. Who will this impact?
So that's right, Danica. From Monday, the 28th of September, we're going to see a significant shift to people on JobKeeper. So the fortnightly flat payment of $1,500 a fortnight will fall down to $1,200 a fortnight. Now, that's for people who were working up to more than 20 hours a week. So their payments are going to significantly fall. But this is also going to see a lot of people who are on JobKeeper hopefully come off JobKeeper and go back into the workforce in states around the country where the businesses are no longer relying on JobKeeper and they can actually get their businesses back up and running.
And we know that JobKeeper has really kept a number of businesses and employers alive during what's been a very difficult time. On the other hand as well, JobSeeker, though, recipients of that subsidy, Sophie, will now need to look for up to 8 jobs a month under these new changes.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Danica. So the federal government came out this week and said, look, we're going to be getting tougher on this. People have to prove that they are on these payments but are actually actively looking for work. Now, that's, of course, people that can work. And so they are going to have to, go out there, search online, actively look for jobs and prove that they are trying to get back in employment. Now, their payments are going to shift significantly. So the coronavirus supplement, which goes on top of the JobSeeker payment, which is a flat payment, the coronavirus supplement was $550 a fortnight. Now, that's being wound back to $250 a fortnight. So JobSeeker recipients are going to see a fall of $300 a fortnight, which is going to be a real shock to the system, given they've been receiving this payment for, up to 6 months now.
And I guess that's probably one of the most difficult things because of that deadline in December. And we know, Sophie, there's been a lot of commentary about will it be revealed after the federal budget about the future of the JobSeeker subsidy. Today, the federal government was quite on the front foot about it. Here's a bit of what the Social Services Minister had to say.
The decisions about any measures and support that goes past the end of this year will be made later in the year when we've got a better understanding of the economic conditions at that time. But if elevated supports are continued to be needed, they will be made available.
Sophie, the reality is, as mentioned there, for a number of these JobSeeker recipients, they won't know how much they will get until after Christmas.
That's right. So there's a big waiting game here, Danica, for a lot of people who are in limbo. Now, we have a lot of people in Australia. We've got, the 3.6 million people on JobKeeper and then about 1.8 million on JobSeeker. I mean, we've got a huge portion of society now on government supplements. So this can only go on for for so long. So obviously the objective here is for people to hopefully get back to work where they can as soon as possible. Victoria is a big exemption to this, with that rule of having to look for 8 jobs a month when on JobSeeker. That won't apply to Victoria. In August alone, 40,000 Victorians lost their jobs, and they're in a real bind in Victoria, clearly, because they are so far behind the rest of the country when it comes to the easing of restrictions, which have virtually not happened at all down here.
And I guess big changes as well to the hip pocket. How critical is it now for an affected individual to have a financial plan, have an idea of where their finances are going?
Look, Danica, now is absolutely critical. We've seen people come into the pandemic with zero savings, which has been incredibly frightening. So, but on the flip side, we've seen a lot of people's expenses come down because there's simply not the ability to spend as easily given so many things have been closed. So it's really important, if you are in a position, to try and siphon off a little bit of money each week and build up a little bit of a buffer, because what has proven throughout this entire pandemic is it's an incredibly stressful situation for Australians who have no savings, no reserves, no cash in the bank to fall back on when things go belly up.
Interestingly, though, this week, Sophie, the unemployment rate for August is at 6.8% compared to 7.5% in July. It surprised even economists' expectations. Do you think it demonstrates overall, though, that there is a bit more confidence in the Australian economy?
Look, Janika, I would love to say yes. I'm living in Melbourne, Victoria, where that is not the case. I would hope that the rest of Australia is getting a little bit of confidence back. But what's going to be really important is when people come off JobKeeper is, are their jobs still there? Is that business still able to employ them? Now, it must be pointed out with these unemployment figures, I think they're in a way fake figures because they do not factor in people who are on JobKeeper payments. That is 3.6 million people on JobKeeper, and they are not factored into the unemployment rate, and they may be working 0 hours. So these figures must be taken with a big fat grain of salt.
All right, well, there's certainly big changes to come. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Sophie Elsworth.
Thanks, Danica.